What might emerge? We're going in. There's no surface.
Guy in school, he used to say, cut it, shut it, put it.
We hear the construction noise.
And you'll bring shame on our family.
Can I make you cry?
Who are you now because of your childhood? It was kind of like a strike.
They misunderstood, if they misread it, blah, 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 blah.
I could belong anywhere the hell I
The
want.
purpose is immaterial.
You want to hang out?
You wanna hang out? You wanna hang out? You wanna get shot?
Pirate, huh? Okay.
You know who you are. I hope you watch this. High five!
Hey, yeah!
All right. Our new draft 3 card deck of what might emerge. So we want to shuffle them.
Here.
Silence.
Do we hear the construction noise? Great, because I really wanted it in.
Yeah.
How else can you be at Misa without construction sounds?
People hearing it are like, wow, their production design, their sound design is so good. Where did they find these sounds?
Yeah, we sent it to the UK, a
Yeah.
really special studio.
Cut.
Cutted.
Pull.
Pull?
Pull. First card. Yeah,
First
you
card,
go.
okay. All right.
I said cutted. I just want you to know
You
that.
cutted it?
Cutted it.
Okay.
And there's this guy in school, he used to say, cut it, shut it, put it. I remember this guy. Yeah.
Okay, here's the first card. Here's the first question. Ooh.
Oh, no.
What's a favorite childhood memory that made you who you are today?
Oh, my word.
Oh, what?
Okay, we're going in. We're going in. There's no surface. What's a favorite childhood memory that made you feel who you are? That's our question of the day.
Okay, I have one. A memory that became indicative of what kind of person I would be. I wouldn't say it shaped me, but I would say it's indicative of how I was shaped or what I turned out to be. We were living in Vancouver long time ago. My dad used to work maybe 3 hours north, something like that. So every Eid, we would take a road trip from Vancouver up to Prince Rupert. At that time, I had just kind of moved to Canada. I was maybe 11, something like that. And there was a lot of new things I didn't understand. Because I was born here and then I left. There's a lot of things that happened differently between obviously here and there. And I wasn't really I was curious, but I wasn't really an asking person. I would always kind of like fiddle and probe until something that would make sense would pop into my head. So one day, we were going on this Eid trip from Vancouver to Prince Rupert. And
Vancouver to where?
to Prince Rupert.
Prince Rupert.
Yeah. It's a couple hours north.
Okay.
This is one of the memories that I keep remembering like very vividly. Like I remember how things smelt. I remember how many stops we made. But every single stop we'd make, I'd go to my mom and I'd tell her, so when you're filling the car, fill it a little bit extra. She wouldn't understand why. So by the third time, she's like, what are you talking about? Well, you fill it and then it's automatic and it shuts off. So I told her, well, what about the guy that's sitting inside the tank that's holding the needle to say it's empty or full? He's hungry. You need to feed him. And I remember just periodic bursts of laughter throughout the way when she'd remember. She didn't tell the rest of my family, but she'd like, you can tell she remembered and she'd laugh. But yeah, that's a memory I have that it kind of seeped into who I was afterwards.
Yeah.
Poor guy I always imagined him like mid 40s, which to me was like this ancient person.
Of course.
Bald, big beard, and his beard is just full of oil.
Yeah.
And he had like this giant straw
Yeah.
while he's turning the knobs.
Yeah.
So it's accelerometer and the fuel tank and all that stuff. And I think at one point I tried to draw him and then it freaked me out and I stopped.
Do you remember when you went through the malls or the co-op, there was a Turkish coffee stand? Okay, and then what happened in there is that the Turkish coffee just went out like this, and then it poured, and then it went back. And I remember I had the same curiosity. I was asking my dad, like, Dad, is there a guy in there? It's like, yeah, of course. Do you see the hand in there? My dad was just kind of like went with it. So for the longest time, I believed that there was a hand in there serving Turkish coffee whenever you put like a dirham. And I've always wondered what happened to that guy.
Man.
And then I grew up.
I haven't yet.
Does your gas guy, does he do everything?
No, he's specifically for the instruments in front
For,
of the
it's
thing.
for that panel.
So there are other people doing the
Doing the
flashing.
other
Well,
stuff.
yeah. How's the car gonna move?
No,
Right.
you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Like, what are we thinking?
Well,
Like
also-
employee number, like 15 to 11 per car.
I want to say it's kind of like a Santa situation, so they're all small people.
man.
Okay.
So we're talking maybe like in the 80s, 85.
The kind of child that I am is I'm wondering like, what happens at the end of the night when they're done and the car is off?
Yeah.
Oh
Where-
yeah, no,
where
I
do they
had that all
sleep?
planned
Where
out.
do they all
Oh,
go?
wow.
That was all
Like, do
planned out.
they go out to party? Do they go out?
They would all
Do they have
exit.
side hustles?
What happens when you're on reserve?
Okay, so
That's what I want to know.
to
When
answer
you're
that
on
one
reserve.
first, they'd all exit from the gas tank.
Gas cap?
From the gas tank. They have a key from inside,
Yeah.
so they'd all exit from there.
Disney, this is IP, by the way.
Yeah, copyright.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would all hang out on our lawn because we had like ornaments and stuff on the lawn. So that's where they like each one would have his own little house. For a reserve, that's why I was insisting that she'd give it a bit extra.
Oh.
Well, because he would have to, you know. It has
That's why you wake up in the morning like there's a little bit more fuel
Yeah,
than it did say yesterday.
it's got a bit more in the tank.
Oh man, I was searching my brain so hard for like positive memories, and then suddenly I was like, oh no, I don't have a lot of positive memories as a child. I have to search hard. However, I did find something
Hmm.
as I was going through the archives. I went I went to this school called Maryland, and then when you finish kindergarten at Maryland, you go to Sherwood Academy. The school no longer exists. A lot of people went to Sherwood. People know the school. So anyway, but there was a annual. At school, we don't have events. We have functions. So we had an annual day function, and I was wearing these. All the little kids would wear like these baby blue shorts, and you had like a blue and white striped shirt and a bow tie, and my dad taught me a song. And I don't remember all the words. I kind of remember the tune, but I remember singing the song as a maybe 5-year-old, 6-year-old, in front of like, there was at least like 1,000 people, and being like, I like this. I think I should do music. Like that was one of the first times I remember being like, music, huh? Is this what? But there was no guitar. There was nothing. It was just little old Ethan and a microphone and just singing the song. And also that same day, they were doing like the Sound of Music. They were just singing songs from the Sound of Music. So they had all the girls dressed up as nuns. However, they had all the girls dressed up as nuns, but oh, thank you. But not all the girls could hit the high notes, and so I dressed up as a nun. It was me and all the other girls dressed up as nuns and like in full makeup singing the Sound of Music. And then my parents and my friends' parents were like, oh my God, we should take a photo with Ethan. He's dressed up as a nun. And recently I've been like, man, I should dress up as a nun like today and just sing the Sound of Music, see what happens. Anyway, but that was a very positive, like, I like music thing as a child, and it didn't have to have like a reason. It didn't have to be like, well, what happens when the production company doesn't pay you? Like it was, it was nothing. It's like no record label, just I love music. That was a good.
I love that. I feel like as I'm going through the memories, because it's always that one memory where you're sometimes so young.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know why I keep remembering this, but it says
Yes.
something about me. And sometimes it's not necessarily always like, oh, it's very proud to remember that.
Yeah.
You know, that's who I am. Because there's some that are feeling a little bit like still discovering who I am, and there's some bits that like, actually that might be a little. It could go a little bit unhealthy.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had 3 kinds of very distinct memories that shapes a little bit. Because when I was like in a lot of ways, I think for most of my years, I thought I was extroverted.
Oh.
I was pretty extroverted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But actually, I think a lot of my childhood, I was the kind of guy who I would be at a party,
Yeah.
or I would be. I significantly remember a Christmas party. We were kids. We had family and friends and everything.
Yeah.
And I was the kind who was kind of in the back,
Yeah.
or like it's sitting in the corner, and I'm observing. I've always felt like I was, I didn't fit. Everyone were really good jokesters, My dad is a hilarious jokester.
Yeah.
I wasn't, my jokes were not coming in through funny. Everything I did was just, I just couldn't fit. I just always felt like I did not
Yeah.
fit in the community. So I was always kind of like on the outside of the bubble, looking in and having an observation where I'm observing dynamics, I'm observing interactions, and they don't even see me there. So I think that's one layer. But
Do you feel that you still do that now?
I think that's what it's shaped me. I mean, it's something that has shaped me.
Can I get
into,
recorrect?
Yes. I think that's something that has shaped me into who I am today, where it feels like I don't really necessarily fit
School.
in a lot of ways. And I'm just kind of like on the outside. I used to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I used to feel bad for not fitting in places, for not fitting in the box, for not being
Did
like
you feel
people.
like it was your fault that you weren't trying, or
It's either I was not cool enough, I was a bit of a loser, I wasn't really liked. But then when I got older, I realized it wasn't necessarily a curse or a bad thing. I realized it was, I don't know, there was something that was very different because I was a deep thinker. It was just very hard to deep think with others. Or I was always a daydreamer. I was always just kind of daydreaming while everyone is doing something.
Yeah.
So there's that side of the coin. And then another side of the coin, one favorite memory at school is we had something called fancy dress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do we do at fancy dress?
We dress up as what you want, and then
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Not at that school.
No.
At that school, you were either some role model, some idol, some I don't know what, some significant character.
I was a lion. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. Great.
still a role model?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've had several characters.
Yeah.
I've had 3 fancy dresses, and I won the best in one
Yeah.
of them. But there was one particular one where I came in as a pirate.
Huh.
I'm not saying the third one because the other one was very inappropriate.
Oh,
You remember that
I know
story?
what it is.
No, I will share it and then we'll decide if it's going to be in. But on one fancy dress competition, I dressed up as a pirate. And I guess my act has always been, I didn't realize that there was a pattern into my act
Yeah.
in anything that I do. So I'm coming in with all the attire and, dressed up as a pirate, and I got my sword and my boots on, and I come in, and then I'm just by myself, and then I'm pretending I'm doing something. So all kids just go up like, I'm a blah, 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 and then they move on.
Yeah.
So I did a bit of an act,
Yeah.
which is very weird for someone that kind of steps outside and then, observes, and then right when I'm on stage,
Yeah.
I feel like I glow up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just engaging everyone and letting them know, what I'm about to do, and I'm about to. There's some kind of a villain that I'm about to kick their butts. And so what happens is that instead of pulling my sword, I pull out my belt and my pants fell.
That's not too far off of what a pirate would do. You're still in character.
Think of the kind of school where this
Oh no.
would happen. So I feel like the where it felt like it made me who I am is that I've always been this kind of playful person where I will let people think of something or see a part of me and make assumptions and then surprise the shit out of them.
Yeah.
It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Or just like a plot twist.
Yeah.
And I feel like I do this in film.
Yeah.
I feel like I do this in writing. I feel like I do this like in speaking or something like that. So these are some of the, I think that's one memory. But I'm not going to mention
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that
yeah, yeah.
third one.
The third one.
Which is?
It's really bad.
It's-
It's politically incorrect. It's I mean, it was the 90s.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long
It was
time
a long
ago.
time ago. We were in Abu Dhabi.
And please, let's just, this
Yeah.
might not make it.
Yeah, this is the. I'll say this is just a double.
Okay, we
Okay.
had.
There you go. Pirate, huh? Okay.
Interesting. I've a question about the not fitting in piece, or like you feeling bad that you didn't fit in. Was that because you're a kid? Was that something that came from like within you, or were there influences? Like, was it your parents saying, "Why aren't you," or your school friends that were like, I don't know why, like, Ray's not doing stuff with us." Like, for example, till today, like the first time I told my mom, I was like, "Yeah, like I'm in like the humanities and creative stuff." My mom's first sentence, "Well, Ethan, everybody's creative," and I was like, "Yes." And all of my friends and cousins, like when I come back to Abu Dhabi and hang out with my friends, they're all like, some of them have like the now advertisement jobs, the Instagram gigs. Like, I'm in marketing for perfumes or something, and they're like IT, construction, doctor. It's like, yes, they are creative. And so I was like, yeah, I guess I don't. Sure, whatever. I don't fit in, but I never thought about not fitting in. I was just like, I do feel uncool. Felt like the most boring person in school. I was not cool, I was not funny, and I was not attractive, which I'm not valuable in school. You're none of those things. And I was bad at school. What do you have? You're not attractive, you're not funny, you're not cool, and you're bad at school. These were external things that I internalized very really.
Here's the thing, for a
that
kid,
was my high school.
you don't know any other world. You don't know that this is it and then you're done. This is going to get thrown out. Life is much bigger than this. But when you're that age, you're like, this is my entire world, right?
Yeah.
I've never had that fitting in situation as well.
Yeah.
Like you didn't fit. You also
Yeah.
struggled fitting in.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't try to fit in, but I think that was just because of the circumstances. I was born here and then I left, and even when we went to Canada, we'd stay in each city for about a year and a half. Maybe my dad was a consultant, so we moved around a lot, and I wouldn't stay in a place long enough to have like a clique or like a group of friends. Or I was always the new kid, the weird kid, the mysterious kid. What's his deal? And I was also like very curious and observant. And being a brown boy in the 80s and 90s in Canada wasn't great, but I got used to that really. Especially that we go to the more northern cities where the only brown they'd see is a piece of
Oh God.
which was one of the comments that I got once. But
Yeah.
the idea is every year or so, you'd reset. You'd be like, okay, where are we going now? Who are these people?
Oh, okay.
And you build up like an archetype in your head for each. That's the class clown. That's the jock.
Yeah.
That's the cool kid. For the most part, I wouldn't kind of box them into any of these. I'd be more interested in like that individual, that person. What's that person like?
Huh.
And they would always be like, oh, who's this kid? Who's this kid that just came in?
Yeah.
So that until that mystery kind of fades away a bit, and then I'd move again. So I never really had that fitting in. It was more like a very transient situation of friends where I take what I can get at that moment, and then when it's done, and I move on.
Yeah.
And that kind of moved way up into even my professional career. After I left engineering, I was a freelancer for like 11 years, 12 years.
Yeah.
Where I'd get a gig in a country, I'd go there, get to know the people, finish the piece or the project, and then stay there and spend my money.
Yeah.
Until I'm broke again, and then I find another project in another country.
Yeah.
I would do that. I don't have like this essence of what a close group of friends from childhood feels like, and everything that comes with that. That's the byproduct. But the idea of it is, I'm always an observer. I'm always an outsider. I'm always looking in. But instead of using that glass as like a separator or window, I use it as a lens to focus on actually observing the different types of people. And I think that's one of the things that really built my curiosity and got me into what I do. Every new person I meet, I'm always like this curious of what makes you tick.
Yeah.
Can I make you cry in this one sitting that we've just met? And not like punch you in the face, but go into a bit of a deeper conversation. See what your essence is, what you're all about. And a lot of times it's great because you actually make like a true, genuine connection with someone. And I've had my fair share of, oh, you made me cry, or people who are too afraid to get that deep. And then I remind them the best confidant you can have is a stranger, really. Because, you know, you're not going to see them again. You're not going to meet them again. And this would translate to like just if I'm walking on the beach in Nepal after a shoot and I see somebody, I just go up to them like, "Hey, who are you? What are you doing here?" And just have shoot for a bit.
Yeah.
And they'd end up kind of telling me stories that maybe they didn't want to tell or they didn't even want to hear, but they just needed that bouncing board.
Yeah.
And I'd never see them again. And I mean, I hope they're doing good. I hope that interaction gave them a little bit of peace.
Yeah.
Or opened their mind to things that they never thought they should.
I will say to this though, when you were asking me about growing up and not fitting in,
Yes.
it's similar to what Bashir was saying as well. I grew up in a lot of layers of society.
Yeah.
I think growing up in Abu Dhabi, when you grow up in Abu Dhabi, you never have the experience that you've had anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's right door to door. And I think also not a lot of people do it, but my family, for some reason,
Yeah.
we're fortunate enough, for some weird reason, to be involved in so many circles or to be open in so many
Yeah.
circles. So I grew up in an Indian school. I went to different churches of different demographics,
Yeah.
which was door to door. The Lebanese, the Catholics, the Orthodox, the Egyptian, the Filipino churches. So that was a huge, and then being in the band and the music scene and being involved with like British kids and American kids,
Yeah.
and being in the music scene, and there's a lot more.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, I felt like the not fitting in felt it was very hurtful.
Yeah.
It felt like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
That was not a good thing for me.
Yeah.
And I was sitting back, and I was being very, very observant. But this is what happened. This is where the turning point has happened.
Yeah.
At that time, a lot of kids were so involved in skating and wheelies and hanging out and fights and doing all kinds of stuff. Because of the internalizing and looking in, and I'm by myself, I worked at things.
Yeah.
So I picked up a guitar
Yeah.
and I learned it by myself.
Yeah.
And then I started playing it.
Yeah.
And I was playing in front of kids one day who have been playing for years. And I started playing within 3 months.
Yeah.
And then people started looking.
Yeah.
And they were like, "How long have you been playing?
Yeah.
You're playing this very beautifully. Can you perform tomorrow
Yeah.
at this thing?" And that was the turning point. And I think I realized that so much of that inner life, the stepping back and being in the corner and observant, has built, without realizing, an inner world,
Yeah.
an imagination of emotions that helped me put it in my music.
Yeah.
And the way that I played and the way that I strummed and the way that I felt like my heart was expressing
Yeah.
without words.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else in and the people that were playing, they were playing like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know who you are. I
Yeah.
hope you watch this.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you also get that feeling like you felt bad that you didn't fit in, or you felt it was your guilt? It was some kind of guilt. Like, is there a negative emotion that you have with that?
Yeah. Yeah. There's two categories that I'm familiar with, and one that I think I have been stepping into for the last 10 years. So the first one is just wanting to, I guess, be validated by my friend circle in school.
Oh yes, please.
I just wanted that. There
Yeah,
were
there
these
you go. So this is my question to that, and this is just
Yeah.
genuinely because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced it, so I don't understand it.
Yeah.
What conditioned you
Yeah. Oh,
to
thank you.
be upset that you're not part of that group?
Oh.
What was the thing that told you, okay, no, this is not good, this is bad?
I just felt alone.
Okay, so feeling alone,
Yeah.
that was
That was the thing.
that
But
was that was
but,
an innate.
But also you see a contrast because you see others are getting along.
Yeah.
I'm not getting along.
So something's wrong.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
I just understood it as that's how they are. That's not how I am.
No, this came like our school was based. The foundation of a big part of like my household and the schooling system was built on uniformity.
Yeah.
And so that was just like hammered into me, like, don't stick out. You stick out, it's wrong.
Okay.
You stick out.
So there is external
Yes.
conditioning that towards
Yes,
that.
totally. If you stick out, you draw attention. If you draw attention, you're ego driven. If you're ego driven, you're conceited and you're prideful, and you're not a good kid, and you'll bring shame on our family.
Yeah.
Like it just like it snowballs.
So how did you
You
deal
know.
with it in the first part? Not the past 10 years.
I tried. I was like, I'm going to see what I can do to like be in the thing. Didn't work. Failed miserably. I sucked at all of the things that I tried. Anything that was not me that I tried to do,
Yeah.
failed. And then
Anything that was not you that you tried to do
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah, especially like I felt like I was changing myself, but I thought this is changing myself in a way that's like not genuine. It's not in the trajectory.
You had that
You know.
self-preservation there.
Yes. I was like, this is not, this is not working. And then the other thing that solidified that be uniform is when I felt good about practicing my guitar or playing or like doing something,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh wow, I think I'm good at this. I would hear there would be an external force somewhere that'd be like, don't do that.
Hmm.
Put that away. So that was a big part of what I felt like I was fighting against. And so then I had this internalized disdain for myself and things that I do. Then I was like, I need to be okay with this.
Hmm.
Instead of feeding the
Before you got
disdain.
into that,
Yeah.
did that emotion evolve into what like my productivity is connected to my self-worth?
Mm.
That evolved into that.
It evolved into I need to find expression. I started to feel more trapped
Hmm.
in my feeling, and my feelings were getting bigger, and places to express them for myself were getting smaller the older I grew. So then everything was in secret.
Huh. It's interesting that you say that. The older you get, the less avenues of expression you have. It's almost like that's something that's reserved for childhood.
Exactly.
Huh. Is that any of those avenues that you tried to explore as an adult?
Totally.
And
I think everything I do.
So what I'm
No.
curious right now to ask is,
Yeah.
considering the childhood memory that we had and turned us to who we are, I would ask that same question again,
Yeah.
but in a way like, who are you now because of your childhood?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, we have some evidence of good and bad, things that have been or we thought were bad experiences or conditioned as bad experiences, and we've all had turning points in our lives where it may have turned. And so I'm curious to know, because of childhood, good or bad,
Yeah.
who are you today? What is it that you do today? What is it that you bring into your surroundings today?
I feel like I make stuff, and I feel like I'm free from judgment. It doesn't get inside, and I also don't feel attached to the thing. I'm addicted to the process. I love doing the
What's an example?
eh,
What are you doing?
like making a music video. I made this music video recently. I loved being on set. I loved doing it. I loved writing the song. I went on this like writing retreat and wrote like 50 songs. Some of them are fully done. Most of them are fully done. Some of them I'm still working on. But afterwards, I'd be like, so people would ask me, do you feel good about it? Or I ask myself, like, do you like them? And I'm like, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I like them. It doesn't matter if you like them. It doesn't matter if anybody likes them. But in the process is so formative. And I think that is something that is like the most invaluable thing in my life. Because now I'm able to be silly and be funny and be myself and do the things that feel like me, that come to mind. And I'm free from a sort of, oh my God, this person did this. I have this, like, I did it for the moment. This was in the moment. Or I needed, like a couple years ago, I wrote this really long letter to this person that lived halfway around the world for closure, for my sense of closure from something from when I was a teenager. So I carried something from when I was 13 all the way into 20, 23, maybe 24, and I wrote this long letter, put a box of coffee, sent this coffee over, and that gave me such a good sense of closure. Now, when I mentioned this recently a couple of days ago, and my friends were like, do you feel stupid for doing that? And I said, I actually don't. I feel great that I did it, and I'd do it again, irrespective of what that person thought, what they felt, if they misunderstood, if they misread it, blah, 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 blah. Don't care.
Mm.
And I think that is something that came from whatever emotional concoction and cultural concoction that this place is, that it does to you. It makes you something that no other place in this world, at least I believe. Like Abu Dhabi makes you somebody and something internally and externally that no other place in this world can do.
Just by bombarding you with experiences that
All
you
the
might
time.
not find anywhere. You know, there's a school of thought that says, when asked what is the purpose of life, the answer was the purpose is immaterial. It's the process and the craft that takes you there. That is the purpose. What it makes you, what it sculpts out of you, the interactions that you make. You reach that end goal or you don't, doesn't matter.
I'm curious to know about yours. How did your childhood,
Yeah.
good or bad, turn you into who you are, and what is it that you bring to the table around you right now
So
by being who you are?
I think
Yeah.
there's two distinct, it's very delineated, and I know the exact date of me letting events, instances, and circumstances around me shape who I am, and just being like a reactionary, passive, okay, this is happening, okay, this is going to make me do this, okay, and switching that to, I don't care what happened externally. That's not what I want to be. I want to be this. How do I do this? And it is a very bold break line. It was 2004. And it was overnight, literally overnight. A week before, I was in a fight. Okay, a little bit of backstory. I was in Egypt when I was in university. I lived in a kind of a suburb that had kind of like a wannabe gang. So I was kind of in a gang, but not in a gang. And then there was like a fight that broke out, and then we had to do a revenge fight.
What was your gangster name?
No, it was
Oh.
just Bash. That didn't change. And then we got into a fight, and then there was like a thing where I had to go to the police station, and then somebody had to come and get me out of the police station. One day in 2004, my dad died, and literally the next day, I was still in university. Literally the next day, I saw everyone in my family break down, and there was so much that needed to be done just in like getting affairs in order. And then he passed away in Canada, so somebody had to travel, and my family was just like, they were just devastated. So literally overnight you feel like this safety net that you had is gone, and now you have to stitch a new net from scratch, and it's not for you, it's for everyone else around you. And yeah, I think I aged like 10 years that day, just from the immensity of the things that I never thought we were being shielded from, all the things that had to be taken care of, and all that. And since that moment, I was like, okay, I'm done letting things shape me. I've had experiences, I'm going to learn from them. I've succeeded, I've failed, I'm going to learn from these failures. And I'm going to move forward, making my own experiences to shape me the way I want to be. So I guess to answer a long-winded way to answer your question is, I've learned, or my experiences as a child, I've learned not to let that happen to me, but only allow the things that I want.
Not to allow what happened to you.
Just any external circumstance to have power over shaping me, unless I want it to.
Your sense of agency.
Exactly, there's a sense of agency. I'm not a cork floating in a river anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a salmon going upstream if I want to. So that's. Then after that, obviously, it was a giant flip, and there was a whole lot of stuff that happened. But I would say what what it helped me bring to the table is a very basic kind of self-regulation and programming that I can deal with anything. Any kind of issue that will come up, I can solve. I just need to trust my skills, trust my past that was able to overcome a lot of things. And even if I didn't overcome it,
Yeah.
there's nothing in my power anyway.
Yeah.
It's all, not to be nihilist, but
You're right.
more existentialist, like make your own purpose
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's what and my curiosity as a child has kept on going. I'm still as curious as I was as a child. That still stays on with me. And I think that's the most important thing that I would bring to a table, whatever that table is.
Yeah.
Even when we sit with clients, first thing we do is we break down everything, ask them all the questions, and at the end of it, what do they say? We feel like this was a therapy session, right?
Every time.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's not about taking good or bad and bringing it with you. It's what works for you, for your morals, for your priorities.
Yeah.
And my priorities are to make a difference, make an impact, and kind of leave anybody I meet in a better place than before I met them.
I think for me, it's
From the two things that you shared, which was being in the background and the pirate story, just those two stories.
I think being in the background and observing, growing up as a child with melancholy and stepping back and observing and everything and thinking it was really bad. I think the way that it brought things to the table, obviously with a turning point in between where I
Right.
realized it was a gifting and not a curse. For me to not, because it's always been a struggle. Belonging has always been a struggle, and belonging seems to always be at the table
Yeah.
when we're trying to grab land, trying to figure out a purpose, what were we trying to do. And I've learned that belonging was so overrated.
Yeah.
And I've realized that I could belong anywhere the hell I want.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't dictate.
Yeah.
The belonging did not dictate where I need to be, where I should be. I wasn't going to be in the box. So I felt like so much of the being observant, I felt like I've always had a thing for being able to see what's underneath. So when we're sitting with clients or when we're doing work or I'm seeing what stuff's coming out there, or what's the talk of the street? What's the culture? Where's the culture going? What's trending or what's
Yeah.
going on? What are people feeling?
Yeah.
Because I've always felt like what people are feeling, what are they talking about? And I've always sensed that.
Yeah.
And and today I'm always like, what is underneath this? And then from the what is underneath, I would create, I would write, I would say something. And so, like we said, like when we sit with clients, in a lot of ways we're observing, I'm seeing what's going on, what they're struggling with, or what they're putting out there, what they're frustrated with. And in a lot of ways, it's always like, you think it's this, but it's actually this. Which comes back to my pirate story, is that you thought I was going to pull out a sword.
But I pulled my
pulled out my
pants
pants down.
Wait, I have one follow-up question. The thing, when it shifted, you were like, it went from, you saw it as a curse and it changed to be a blessing, or as a gift, curse to gift. When did the little guy in your tank turn it from curse to gift?
I think it was the end of 2006, and I was really sick and tired of being just not knowing what I'm here for. Why do I exist? What's the point? And what is my purpose? And I think there was a moment where I was like, I'm illegal in the country.
Yeah.
My visa's expired.
Censored.
Yeah.
It's just been very, very difficult. Been very hard to try to get into schools. We had financial issues,
Yeah.
and it was just really, really hard. Like, what's the point? I think life is not about surviving. This can't be the life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I decided I was going to pray and fast.
Yeah.
So one month in 2007, I kind of like went on this quest where I'm just like, I'm going to sit down for the next 40 days and I'm just going to ask what my purpose is.
Yeah.
and I'm going to pray and I'm going to fast. I'm just not going to eat anymore.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a strike.
Yeah.
I am holding a strike
Yeah.
at this living to survive.
Yeah.
I want to see what life is about.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was reminded of my past.
Yeah.
Growing up and the different cultures I went through and the experiences, a lot of it was bad experiences. And then it hit me by day 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I kind of stopped fasting. It was like, okay, I think I got the answer. That a lot of the experiences I went through, a lot of the pain and the experiences that I went through, its purpose was to be there for others who are going through the same thing. So in that moment, I realized, you know what? Young people are asking all kinds of questions about themselves. They're confused. They don't know their identity, or they're trying to figure out who they are. And what I've always wished is that I had someone that was older than me that saw my potential. And I wanted to be that person.
Yeah.
So I became that person.
Yeah.
I became the person who wanted to be there for people and to ask them good questions
Yeah.
and to get them to think
Yeah.
and pull them out of the rut and give them jobs and
Yeah.
like, what if you did this?
Yeah.
I'm here for you. Or like, whatever, this experience is temporary.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that my past experience was authority to speak. Was authority to lead.
To your point, there over the course of my life, you have multiple pivotal experiences, but there are two that I'd say there's probably like 7. 2 of those are Ray related.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe now, as of today, maybe 3. But the 2 of those are Ray related. First one, I was 14, 15 maybe, and I was playing at the Anglican church just down the street, St. Andrews. And after I got done playing, no one would ever say, like, you did a good job. That was just not a thing. And if someone said you did a good job, it was not, like, you couldn't just say thank you. You had to say, like, well, it's because of God or something like that. So I was like, oh, so yeah. And this was the first time in my life. At this point, I'm already playing music for a while. 10 years in to playing guitar in this thing. And I got done, and Ray and Lisa were both there. And I finished playing, and I came and stood or sat next to them. And they both just looked at me and said, good job, well done. And that was the first time that, as a teenager, that someone had ever said, good job. To me for, like, doing a thing. And I started to say something like, no. And they were just like, shut up.
Just take it.
Just take
Take
it.
you take it.
Yeah.
You sleep like that. Yeah.
And that, I've never forgotten that. That was the first time. And it was Ray and Lisa.
Have you said it to yourself since?
No, why would I do that?
So okay.
So this is I would say, to wrap up,
Yeah.
a good last question would be,
Yeah.
Before that, before the last question, there is one thing I wanted to ask you about your childhood and about the experiences, and what is, because this is the second time I'm meeting you, and I'm noticing a lot of things, just getting to know you.
Yeah.
What is the kind of reactionary emotion
Yeah.
that you have from your childhood
Yeah.
that still pops up to this day that you wish shouldn't, that you can't control?
Just feeling my feelings. When I cry, I feel like I cry so easily. That is the one thing that I feel like I'm just allowing myself to feel a feeling in the moment. Like, without reason, like, that was that thing, this expression.
And that you don't want to,
You don't
want to do that.
I don't want to do that, but because the voice in my head telling me not to do that is from so long ago in such a different context.
Is this voice in your head more an id or a self? It's not an ego, obviously, if it's a negative talk.
Yeah, I don't
But it was
know.
in
It's
itself.
it's a mix now. It's like a harmonious voices of negativity.
When they band together, they band on that.
When they band together, they band on harmonious voices of reprimand. Yeah. So
So a negative church.
So,
Anyway.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes,
would-
yes.
what would you say to your child if you met him?
I would say somehow "it's fine" is a very calming phrase.
Nice.
It's fine, and it's okay that you're different.
Yeah. I
It's
love
fine.
that. I love that it's okay that you're different.
It's fine.
Don't worry that you're don't worry
Don't
about
worry.
being different.
Just it's fine. It's okay that you're different. Continue.
Mm.
I say this to my kids a lot because they notice
Yeah.
that they're different.
Yeah,
And I have to tell them,
it's okay.
don't worry about being different.
Yeah, it's okay that you're different.
I sometimes wonder whether I should just not tell him anything because it's like, you need this experience, bro. You need this experience because otherwise you won't be here.
Yeah.
But I guess I would probably go back and say, don't worry about anyone else. Keep going. You're worthy, and you don't have to impress anyone. You can daydream all you want.
I think I would say I'm not going to be here forever.
Mm.
But for the time that I am, I'll show you what it means to be there for someone.
Mm.
Oh,
I think that's what I
Whoa.
would say.
Wow.
Bashir, you're so profound.
It's the mojo in the hair.
No, it's everything. It's you.
It's the Ruwais effect.
The way
Ooh, the Ruwais effect.
I was born in Ruiz, in the middle of the desert.
He is.
Man.
He's a desert man.
Man, Oasis and Oasis.
I'd watch that concert.
Totally. Today.
So you're born in Tourist Club?
No, actually born in India.
Okay.
Yeah, but moved here. Sister, tourist club.
Tourist Club. Okay. You want to hang out?
You wanna
brother?
hang out? You wanna hang out? Do you wanna get chai?
Should we get out?
My old one was I have a ball. Do you want to play?
Stop. Okay. High five.
Hey, yeah. I have a ball. Do you want to play?
Yeah.
It's a wrap, you guys.